Welcome back once again. As we left off last time, it turned out that the questions that I got from Mailbag, the ones that Dan sent in, were so awesome and involved such explanation that it actually was going to be a hugely long episode. So we've decided to split it up into two different sections, this being the part 2. And so let's bring you right back to the Mailbag section here at Rich Does a Thing. Jungle Cruise. Yeah, man. Jungle Cruise is another one of my absolute favorite attractions in Disney and, at the Magic Kingdom. There are, stupid jokes and puns galore. The attraction is very much dependent on the skipper, the person that is actually running that cruise, because they can either deliver the jokes well or not. And it's a decent wait to get on this ride. And if the person that's doing it doesn't get the jokes or just doesn't care about delivering the jokes well, you're going to have a bad time. But if the person is on it and having a blast, then yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of great stuff. Also, back when I was going around by myself, I got onto a boat, and I had these little Disney-themed Hawaiian shirts or whatever as I was walking around and enjoying myself in the scorching heat of Florida. And I remember at one point getting in the boat, and I just happened to get the seat to on the right-hand side, so to the left of the skipper, like right up next to them. And they have their handheld mic thing that they would hold up to their mouth so that people in the back of the boat can hear them. And as I sat down next to them when they were filling the boat, they took the mic away from their hand and they kind of leaned over and they said, "Do you mind getting wet?" Yeah, that's fine. I can get wet. Yeah, you can get you're okay with getting really wet? Yeah, sure. What the hell? Why not? Sure. Okay, cool. All right, and then they did their spiel, and they were one of the good tour guides, and they did a lot of the great jokes and everything. My friend Jasper was also a Jungle Cruise skipper, so clearly I have fantastic taste in friends. And so this skipper was going around, they were doing this thing, and there's this portion of the ride in which these elephants they slowly pop their heads out of the water, and they spray a whole bunch of water, and everything's timed so that they spray the water. They stop spraying and go down just as the boat gets to there, and then they pop back up, and you think you're going to get nailed with water again, and you don't, because the second time around they don't actually spray you. And yeah, it's fun. It's just the little, breath that everybody collectively takes. So I was on that side of the boat where the spraying happens, and man, they knew the timing of this just right. So they actually made it so that the elephant popped their head up, and as the elephant popped their head up, it hosed me down with this elephant trunk of water. I didn't know exactly where it was going to happen, but sure enough, it just whoosh all over me, and I got soaked. The people next to me didn't. They might have got a little splash just because that's how it happens, but that was a new, unique thing for me, and I was completely cool with it. It was fine. I said that I could get wet, and again, for everybody else that was in that boat, they were like, "Oh God, that clearly can happen to, or does happen to somebody every single boat. So let's make sure we don't sit there." So I was excited to make that special thing for somebody. Another interesting Jungle Cruise story. It was I was waiting 2 Halloweens ago. I was there for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. Claire and Jesse were going to be coming to see me after they were done with work. So I got there before they did. I got some alone, rich, running around time. And Jungle Cruise is not open for the party, so I got there early enough. I said, damn it, I'm going to the Jungle Cruise. So, of course, I go to the Jungle Cruise, and the skipper was not a great skipper, but I don't think. Anyway, so what happened is the boat in front of us died. Like the motor to the boat stopped. They couldn't get it started again. Now the boats are on a track, but at the same time, they're boats. There's not like a mechanical animatronic device underneath the boat that's driving it around. These are legit boats, and their onboard propulsion is what is making them go forwards and backwards. So when the boat in front of us, full of people, just died, that means everybody behind that boat was also kind of stuck in the water, and there's not really anything you can do about it. Now it was hot and sunny and miserable, but we were actually stuck inside the temple, which was great because we got all that shade and everything. And I sat there and we just kind of laughed and eventually someone's going to have to come get us. Don't know if we're going to get evac'd off the side of the boat or what's going to happen, but this is unique. And eventually I said, this would be funny to tell Jesse and Claire exactly where I'm stuck at. So I pull out my phone and I realize that in this temple, there is no service whatsoever. So I was really stuck. Couldn't even Facebook or anything, just stuck. And I forget how long we were stuck for. I think it was maybe 20, 30 minutes, because what they had to do is they got all the other boats. They took another boat, unloaded everybody, backed the boat in reverse with a giant blue rope on it, all the way back to the other rope, tossed the blue rope, kind of looped it around the front of the boat, and then had to tow the boat full of people out to the other to the dock, get all the people unloaded, and then they kind of had to use the other boat behind it to shove the boat back into the maintenance area so they could try to fix it. And we couldn't unload until they had done all that, so it was a very unique experience on the Jungle Cruise, but it's fun. It's a good story. Another kind of special, I guess I have a lot of special memories of the Magic Kingdom, which is one of the reasons why it is a big deal for me. Is one time, this is many years ago when my parents were going out with me, and they had the Main Street Electrical Parade, which is our favorite nighttime parade. There's a lot of great memories of the parade and the music. The music to that was on this vinyl record for Disney stuff that we had, that even as a kid I played that quite a bit because it's great music. And we decided we wanted to see it. And Mom's knees were not being terribly kind to her that day, so she kind of called it quits earlier in the day, and she decided, all right, we're gonna get a good seat for the parade. So they had the train station up at the top, the beginning of the Magic Kingdom. They had I think little tables and chairs or something like that, and so she grabbed 3 chairs and she plopped them right in the center of the train station at the top, overlooking this kind of cul-de-sac in the front of Main Street, and she sat and she hung out for a while. It was probably an hour or two, but she was there. She was the first one. We'd go get her some drinks or some popcorn, and sometimes we'd sit there with her. Otherwise, Dad and I could get up and wander around and do something and come back. And when we came back and we were ready for the Wishes fireworks and for the Main Street Electrical Parade, we had perfect visibility seats, elevated, nothing between us and the castle, the parade, the fireworks. It was perfect, and we sat and we watched everything, and we had our our popcorn and our drinks, and it doesn't get much better than that. It was just a great experience that I will always remember. So that's cool. Not to mention Claire, both Jesse and Claire, we have our own special spots actually at Universal Studios. Claire and I have a spot in Hogsmeade that's kind of a special spot for us. And Jesse and I also have a special spot in Islands of Adventure as well. It's kind of right near the entrance. There's this little kind of covered car. It's almost like a little golf cart type of looking thing, but it looks all, it's got this kind of Asian look to it. It's all decorated and everything. And it doesn't go anywhere. It's just kind of there. It's a fun little photo. And we thought it might be a cute couple's photo. So it was one of our first dates out to a theme park. We went to Islands of Adventure. And we decided to sit in this vehicle and get a fun little selfie or something, like a little kissing photo of us. And we were there. We got our selfie, and I guess we either hadn't paid attention to something that was going on with the clouds or something, because it started to rain, and it didn't just rain; it poured. And so it is pouring rain. Everybody's like running for the shops. They're all like huddled underneath all the eaves and stuff, and we are stranded inside this little covered car, just kind of pressed up next to each other, and decided, okay, well, this is home. We live here now until the rain stops. And so we were there for a few minutes, but it's special to us. So I always try to get we note it when we walk by it, or we'll take a picture of it. It's actually a Pokestop. So if you play Pokemon Go and you go to Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure, that is a Pokestop. So that's it's a sweet little romantic thing. As I got a gift from that Pokestop and sent it to Jessie last time I was there, and that made her cry, because happy things make her cry. So lots of great experiences in all the theme parks. There's a few good stories there. For rides, man, for all the different rides, I'll say there's a lot of great rides in all the different parks. My very first roller coaster I ever rode was Space Mountain in the Magic Kingdom, and that was with my uncle, D.C. Hathaway. He had a fun time listening to me react and holler as we were going around Space Mountain. Of course, Haunted Mansion, one of my absolute favorite attractions of all time. That one's a great one. Of course, Jungle Cruise was a really great one. Okay, so you know my sense of humor. You've been around it long enough. Here's the thing that I want. There's a thing that I've been kind of wanting for a bit. I've seen they have these great cameras, these 360-degree cameras, where either a still shot or video, you set it in place, and then it just records all around you. And you can either show the all around later for people to look around, or you can just set it to a specific. But I've had one of those that I've been wanting for a bit, and one of the big things that I would love to do is I would love to go to the Jungle Cruise, to get a 360-degree camera, to get near the front of the boat and just plop that sucker down and to record the entire ride of the Jungle Cruise. And you know what? I can just take out the audio to just about everything as well. Because if I do that, if I get that 360-degree footage of the Jungle Cruise, I promise you, I will pop myself up in there, and I will be your Jungle Cruise skipper on our collective adventure on the Jungle Cruise right here on Richie Does a Thing. I would love to do that someday. I really hope it happens. Rock and Roller Coaster over at the Hollywood Studios. That's a fantastic roller coaster. I have some great memories of that with my parents. That's one that both of my parents will ride that ride. So we have some great ride photos from that and some great experiences from there. Big Thunder Mountain on Magic Kingdom again. That's another great one. I have some great memories there on the college program where, slow season at the end of the night. You get on there, and if no one's looking to take your place, you just go around again. And I think I've ridden that 4 or 5 times in a row without leaving my seat. At one point, we were going up the one of the last lifts. I think it's the second lift. And there were fireworks going off. So I get to look up in the sky and see the fireworks. Or it actually started raining, and so riding that in the rain, that was kind of cool. One of Mom's favorite attractions, Soarin' over at Epcot. That's a fantastic ride. That's another really great one over there. Spaceship Earth over at Epcot. Classic attraction. I know that one's going down to get redone soon. They're probably starting to redo that right now. Over at Universal Studios, The Mummy is a great ride. I mean, very well themed. It's a lot of fun. It's also something that Mom will ride, so we can all ride that together as a family. So that's really cool. I think that's one of her favorite coasters. Poseidon's Fury over in Islands of Adventure is an overlooked walking tour that they have there that I love. Poseidon's Fury. The feel of it, the adventurousness of it, the having a live actor in there is cool. All the effects, and there's some really cool magical stuff. There's a spot. There's a big thing. I'm not going to spoil it at the end. A huge transformation, which is amazing. And there's also a big kind of horizontal cyclone water room that's so cool that you get to walk through. Poseidon's Fury is great. Last but not least, I'll mention for rides, probably my favorite roller coaster in Orlando, not at Disney, not at Universal. It's actually Manta at SeaWorld. SeaWorld has some fantastic rides. I mean, Kraken's darn good. Mako is a really good ride. Manta is a really good ride. SeaWorld, they go out of their way to make it. May not be ridiculously themed attractions, but just good, solid coasters. So very much enjoyed that. Um, Last but not least, talking about theme park stuff, we go to food. Man, there's some good specific food out there. I mean, over in Adventureland and in the Magic Kingdom, there is Dole Whip. Dole Whip is world renowned. It's good stuff. I worked at Aloha Isle. I worked at the place affectionately called Pineapple Hell, where you served and made these things. I know exactly how they're made. It's not anything you really would be excited to know how they're made because it's whatever. But it's good. Even when you know how it's made, it's still wicked good. It's the soft serve pineapple stuff. It's not ice cream. It's a non-dairy, non-ice cream with a milk enzyme. It's weird, but it was good. Uh, Over in the land in Epcot, there's a strawberry shortcake that Jesse and I enjoyed for one of our first theme park days out there with her, and that was really good. It was for her birthday, and so we enjoyed that. That was really good. They did a good job with it. The Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal has butterbeer. You go to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, you gotta have a butterbeer. You can have it cold, you can have it frozen, you can have it hot. I mean, they even have other variations of ice cream and stuff, but you gotta have some sort of butterbeer while it's there. Another good thing from the Wizarding World is tongue-tying lemon squash. Think of it like a fizzy tart lemonade. It's good. They squeeze the half a lemon right in there. They even take that half a lemon and throw that in the cup as well. So it's a little visual thing. When it's hot, that is great stuff. Very refreshing. I'm a sucker for well-made popcorn. You know, if a movie theater can make good popcorn, I'm happy. Disney and Universal, I mean, they make damn good popcorn. Yeah, it's salty, but it's good. I love it. It's overpriced. Don't care. Give me a bucket of it. I'm happy. Um, Last but certainly not least on the food stuff, they do the Epcot Food and Wine Festival, which I used to do that for about 2 or 3 years in a row for my birthday. It's great, but it's so hot. And honestly, it gets really busy. It's gotten so busy to the point where, I mean, you got to wait in line just to go to one of these little tents to get a tiny piece of food that you're paying a lot of money for. If there was an experience like that you could do without all the waiting, and maybe inside and air conditioned, I mean, I think that would be a lot of fun. But it's it's what's good for you. You know, it's if that's the thing that you want to try. It was cool. It was fun. But man, it's hot, and man, it's expensive, and man, it's just yeah. But cool food there. So to answer your question, Dan, 3.5 years later, after all that, that's what I think between Disney and Universal. So thank you for asking that question. All right, 1 down and 3 to go. Second question. So what is your favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe film and DC Cinematic Universe films? All right. Well, that's an interesting question. Now, I'm not a huge movie person. There's a decent amount of movies that I do end up seeing, but I don't see a ton of them. So there's actually quite a few that I haven't quite caught up with yet. Now, with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I've had a chance to catch up on a lot more of those lately. So I just watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Doctor Strange, Thor Ragnarok. I just have seen those recently. I still need to see Captain Marvel, and I still haven't seen Endgame, which is kind of a big deal. But I don't know. I mean, they're all pretty darn good. I enjoy watching the movies. Guardians of the Galaxy, those were, I guess, better than I anticipated. I didn't know anything about them, and they were well done. I enjoyed them quite a bit. Ragnarok was good. I mean, Doctor Strange, yeah, they were all good. To me, a lot of the superhero movie stuff is, it's to a certain extent kind of bubblegum for me. I don't nitpick everything apart. I let it kind of wash over me, and I enjoy it. And yeah, I don't scrutinize it too much, and I like it. It's I guess I would consider those types of superhero movies to be like my geeky version of like the Fast and the Furious, or the stuff like that, or the James Bond, where they keep making a whole bunch, and the plot's generally the same, or the idea's the same, but they have different plot points and everything. And I don't know, it's cool. I enjoy it. So it's very difficult to pick a specific favorite for that, but any of those new ones that I've been watching have been good. For the DC universe, again, because I don't watch a ton of movies, there's a whole bunch that I have probably missed out on. The last couple that I've seen, Aquaman and Birds of Prey, and I really enjoyed Birds of Prey. I am very much a Harley Quinn fan, and I feel like I would be more critical of the Harley stuff, but in the end, I'm usually just happy to have her represented, on the screen. Suicide Squad was, maybe not my absolute favorite movie ever, but that was probably my least favorite depiction of Harley. But at the same time, at the end of the day, I enjoyed it because I got to see her, and that was fun. I still need to see Wonder Woman. I still need to see Shazam and Justice League. I haven't seen those yet, so I may not have quite as much of a satisfying answer for you on those. But yeah, I mean, they're good. I enjoy watching them. I just maybe don't have a favorite or something specifically that I can geek out on that. So once again, thank you, Dan, for that question. Number 3, do you enjoy Penn and Teller's style of magic? Yes, you very clearly like me because you've hit upon kind of my some of my absolute favorite magicians. I'll probably say my absolute favorite living magicians. Unfortunately, with Tom Mullica passing away a number of years ago, just recently after performing here in Orlando, and I missed it, which was, two huge, terrible things that happened back to back there. I've been a big fan of Penn and Teller ever since I've been exposed to them. Ever since probably the late 90s, I've really enjoyed they have a very unique, kind of shocking style of magic. It's surprising, a bit, I don't know, over the top, I feel like, in a good way. And I like the pairing of them as well. They do some really great stuff. When they started with their Penn and Teller bullshit show that was on Showtime, I've always really enjoyed that, from even when it was first on to, all the way through. I thought it was a really great show. I think they've said some really great things, have a good, funny look on a lot of stuff. Now, some of the information in the show has aged a bit to the point where even they feel differently about certain things. They kind of wish they could go back and, as Penn has said, he wants to do like a bullshit of bullshit, where they would go back and revisit the stuff that their views have changed on. But honestly, Showtime doesn't want any more episodes from them because the ones that they've got are rating just fine, so why pay for more when the thing you got right now works well? So that's been a great show. I've got a couple of their books secondhand from Penn and Teller. Yeah, so I've got not only the first one that I've had for I think the longest is Penn and Teller's How to Play with Your Food, which is an excellent book, and I've used a bunch of the things out of that book a number of times. It's actually really, really fun. And I also have Penn and Teller's How to Play in Traffic, which is another good book about traveling. And I would love for them to make more of these books. They're really good, thoughtful books. I know there's another book, Cruel Tricks for Dear Friends, I believe is a book that's out that I don't have yet. It's tough because none of these books are in print anymore, so I have to figure out some way to get it. And they all came with stuff to help you pull things off, and I didn't get any of that with the second hand, but it's fine because it's still great, and you get the idea. I believe Cruel Tricks for Dear Friends was even referenced there's an interview or something I read with Adam Savage. I know Adam Savage is a big Penn and Teller fan as well, which is great. I also got Penn's fiction book Sock, which I remember I kind of enjoyed it at the time. I don't remember as much about it. I know he doesn't claim that it's one of his greatest artistic endeavors, but maybe at some point I need to go back and reread it because that was pretty good. Yeah. So they were great. I've got a lot of Penn's books, his solo books on Amazon Kindle, everything from God No and Every Day is an Atheist Holiday. Um, they're just they're both really really entertaining dudes. I am a Penn Sunday School congregation member since it ever got started, even when he was on Penn Radio. On the radio, and then that switched over to a podcast and everything. I've been listening the whole time. That is my favorite podcast, as I told you, and I believe episode 1 of this wonderful little show we've got going on here. I watched his, he did video podcasts, a little video things called Pen Point for just a brief period of time, and I watched those and I enjoyed that. And they've got a TV show, Fool Us, Penn and Teller Fool Us, which is a great show, showcases some great magic stuff. I haven't found a really good way to see that yet. I don't know if that's on a streaming service or something. If it is, I need to go through and start watching all that. I think it's on the CW, but they've been having a blast with that, and it's helped them create a lot of wonderful material. I may not agree with Penn more specifically, but yeah, either of them on everything. They're fairly hardcore libertarians across the board. I think over time they've grown a little bit more thoughtful, more prolific. They just have a great sense of humor. They've come out with a lot more material a lot faster in their later years, and they don't really show a sign of slowing down, aside from Teller having to go through some back surgeries and stuff like that. So, no, they're great. Penn and Teller are absolutely some of my favorites, and I highly recommend anything that you can get your hands on. Somewhere I did buy, it's a VHS, they had a movie. They came out with a movie called Penn and Teller Get Killed, which was a fun, entertaining movie, and Penn said it's pretty much impossible for them to ever get that onto like a DVD or Blu-ray or something like that, because the money just wouldn't be behind it. But yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. So yeah, check them out where you can. Last but certainly not least, Dan's final question is, finally, what do you think of Criss Angel? Again, you very clearly know me. I probably have mentioned something about my feelings on Criss in a brief snippet, but and now here you are. You have me pinned down, or I actually have to speak at length about this guy. So Criss Angel is, I'm not even going to say is, I'm going to say was a popular kind of pop magician. He had a stint where he was really big. He had his TV show Mind Freak. He has a different TV show now, last I checked. I think it's called something different. Honestly, who cares? When I first was exposed to Criss Angel, I thought it was cool. I enjoyed his kind of darker rocker look for him and his magic and everything. I thought that was really cool. There was a TV special kind of thing that I saw that included some of his stage stuff, and there was a really cool stage effect where he would take these pieces of this giant robot thing and assemble them up on this slab. So basically, he would put this mask on. He would assemble this robot on the slab. And then once the robot was on the slab, it kind of came to life, and it started walking around, larger than life, and swinging its arms around and attacking him. And then he would grab this sheet and hide behind the sheet. And then when the sheet dropped, I believe it changed into a different kind of weird alien creature lady thing that he had. And then the robot would kind of walk to the front center, reach up and pop off the head, and it was actually Criss inside it, which, great trick. I mean, looked cool. It looked great. I very much enjoyed it. If that was the type of magic that I would constantly see from him, I would probably still be a Criss Angel fan, but there's a number of things throughout his TV career and everything that I've heard that he's just a kind of a terrible person. Everything that I have heard from people who either met him or interviews about people that knew him or something like that is that he's not terribly kind, that he's not terribly intelligent. He had a fantastic crew of magicians, magical minds behind him to help him create not only some of his earlier shows, but Mind Freak. The late great Johnny Thompson, who's, I mean, the best magical mind in magic until his recent passing away. But I know he had I believe he had split ways with Criss Angel a while ago. And Banachek, another huge mentalist. I mean, there's a lot of great people that, from what I understand, he kind of pushed away because, just not fantastically good. One of the big problems I have with him is his propensity to lie. He not only does he let people believe that he has magical powers. When I would work at the magic shop, I had a lot of people that would ask me if he had actual magic powers. And anytime that I would say no, they wouldn't believe me. It was bizarre how, I mean, they would ask me as if I was an expert, and as soon as I gave them the answer that they didn't want, they immediately discredited anything that I said. It was, so does he have real powers? Yeah? I'd say no, and they just kind of look at me and go, you're just jealous because he's famous and you're not. I get it. Which was crazy and asinine. I got to the point where I actually had to craft an answer in my head so that when people would ask me, hey, does he have powers? I'd say, listen, if he really had magical powers, would he have a crappy little magic TV show on A&E, or would he be out curing diseases and winning Nobel Prizes? And that was enough to kind of make some things click over with people. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a magician. There's nothing wrong with presenting tricks and entertaining people, and it's cool. I mean, it's what I love to do. But so not only would he would kind of tell people that he was blurring the line between what's real and what's an illusion. In many cases, he would very much let people believe that he had those powers. He would say that, okay, listen, I'm not using any camera tricks. I'm not using any video editing. I'm not using any assistants or stooges or anything like that. And right after he would say that, he would be using camera tricks. He would be using stooges. He would be using video editing and stuff like that. There's a particular trick. I'm going to try not to actually give away any of the stuff that he's doing, but at the same time, there's one fairly big stunt that he's done outside, and this probably applies to a few of them, where when you're not paying that much attention, you look at it and everything seems to be fairly legit, but if you're also paying attention to the background, the clouds in the air change position. Clouds just tend to move. So, I mean, there's one time there was like a flash of fire, and then suddenly, things had appeared or disappeared or whatever. And if you pay attention to the clouds, there's a flash of fire, and the clouds are in different places. You can't do that without stopping the camera, doing things, and then starting to record again. If you're gonna do camera tricks, if you're gonna do video editing and stuff like that, if you're gonna do that for a magical purpose, the best place to do that, guess what, is in a TV show or a video, or exactly what he was doing. What he was doing is fine because you're trying to entertain the people at home, not necessarily the people that are around you. But when you then explicitly say, I'm not using any camera tricks, I'm not, editing video, you don't need to lie about that. There's tons of tricks that I've seen where I know how he does the tricks, and everybody around him that is freaking out and like tearing their hair out, oh my God, everybody can see exactly how he's doing it. You're not getting the honest reactions from people. You're getting people who want to be on TV and want to make him look good, which is disconcerting, especially because when I was at the magic shop, we were actually selling his levitation. One of his levitation that would teach you, the one where you're standing on the ground and then he would levitate up to stand like on a chair or something like that. And you see the videos and everybody at the bar that he's doing it is freaking out, but everybody's seeing exactly how he's doing it because you pretty much have to be looking straight at or straight away from the person that you're doing the trick for. And it's difficult to sell someone a DVD for $80 that comes with no materials, that you then have to spend another $300 at Home Depot to buy all the materials and then craft it together and make everything so that you can levitate as long as you're wearing your special pants and your special shoes and your everything for maybe 2 or 3 people if they stand really close together. That's tough. And when people say, hey, yeah, but everybody around them was freaking out, it's like, yeah, but they kind of weren't really. It's tough. So really, it's the kind of the moral thing for me. And on top of that, I mean, he had his show. He got together with Cirque du Soleil for Believe, which everything that I heard was that the Cirque stuff was not that good for Cirque, and the magic stuff was not that good for magic. And I guess the tickets were just outlandishly expensive. And apparently he was, I mean, I understand the rock star persona, and to a specific point I can kind of understand that. But, yeah, he was dating one of Hugh Hefner's old girlfriends, one of the Playboy girls. And apparently in the middle of his show, that had families there that were paying huge sums of money. He was bragging about things that he was doing with Hugh Hefner's old girlfriend. And that's just another level of tasteless that I just don't like. So, is he one of the most famous magicians of recent history? Yes, absolutely. Has he done some great magic? Yes, he's done some great magic. But I very much think context is very important with your performance. So, anything else I can think of? Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. And, everyone thinks he's this young up-and-comer guy. I don't wish to be ageist, but dude's in his 50s. So, I mean, he looks fantastic for his age, but I don't know. Maybe it's just I have that sour taste in my mouth, and I just feel like it's another bit of misrepresentation. So yeah, I've never been a huge fan of Criss Angel. It's very difficult for me to open myself to liking any of his other stuff when, I don't know, I feel like there's a certain level of immoral misrepresentation going on. So that's it on the Criss Angel, and that's the 4th of 4. So wow, Dan, those were some pretty serious questions that you asked. Thank you very much for asking those questions, and that concludes this episode, or this portion of our mailbag. Thank you for hanging out for that. So yes, that concludes this episode. Thank you for coming to hang out with me. It is greatly appreciated. Yes, of course, go to hit that subscribe button first and foremost at the bottom of this video. If you have not subscribed, please do. If you are a subscriber, thank you so very much. I very, very much appreciate that. Not only can you go to the Facebook page for Rich Does a Thing, because that'll keep you in the loop from when new episodes are hitting, as well as, are you ready for this? Are you ready? The official announcement, here it is. We have now officially launched and is functioning richdoesathing.com. So you can go there and you can see the episodes. They're nicely sorted. So we got the streams in one section. We got the rest of the episodes like this in the other section. It's fun. It's a blast. It's like we're getting more official all the time. Who knows what's going to happen next? Check us out at all the other different social media outlets. We got the Insta Twitter, the Tickvine, the Sandpiper, whatever. If there's an app that has a logo on there, we probably have some sort of presence there. So feel free to check us out. Rich Does a Thing there. And very much appreciate it. If you have any other questions, such as Dan did, thank you again, Dan, rich@richdoesathing.com. Email me, and who knows, you could open up this whole can of bees, and we can start this all over again. Thank you again. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and keep doing your thing.